Hi guys, I wanted to talk about what a temperature blanket is. This was a question I was asked recently and I felt it was a great opportunity to do a quick little video and explain it to other crafters out there that don't know what it is. A temperature blanket is a blanket that represents the temperatures for a year by assigning a certain color yarn to a certain temperature range outside. So for example, you might assign a blue for a temperature that is between 30 and 35 degrees outside. You may assign a red for a temperature that's like 90 to 95 degrees. And what you would do is either crochet, knit, loom knit, 1 to 2 rows of your choosing in that color to represent that day. Similar to how we have my ugly blanket here, that's why I'm up here doing this video with this to kind of visually show you what a temperature blanket is. It means at the end of the year you would visually see the temperatures that you went through for the year. So that's why it's kind of important to figure out what colors you want to assign to what color, or excuse me, what temperature range. If you're unsure, you need some inspiration, just Google temperature blanket color charts, and there's a lot out there that give you suggestions on colors to use. I would personally say keep it kind of simple for your first one, and make sure the colors that you're picking would be more easily accessible if you run out of that yarn for that temperature. You don't want to pick a weird color that maybe you can't find when you need it, excuse me, more of it. But I would say typically they say you do 1 to 2 rows in that color. I would recommend probably 2 just to make sure you can see the color. You're going to have some batches, like with this blanket even, you're going to have some colors that repeat for a few days depending on your temperature range and colors that you choose. Now I would also suggest, which I saw this tip online, is maybe putting a neutral color in between the days, or even possibly at the end of each week temperatures. And like with this one, you can see I have some random white spots, and I just did that because I wanted to tie in some white, and then I eventually did a white border around it to kind of tie the whole blanket kind of in together. So I would recommend maybe getting some white yarn or black if you're going to do something darker, or brown, or something that you're not using for any of the temperatures. And maybe at the end of each day, or possibly at the end of each week, you would do that to kind of break up the colors a little more if you want, to have more definition between the temperatures. Or you don't need to if you want just to kind of blend one from the other. It's really visually what you want your blanket to be, and that's what I think is so great about this kind of project to do, is although there's suggestions out there, you can really tweak it to make it your own. And one of the things I think would be cool to do, depending on how many people are in your family, is let kind of the family decide what colors go with which temperature. And that way when you look back at the blanket and maybe your son picked out blue for a certain range and your husband picked out orange for a certain range and you picked out pink for a certain range, it'd be kind of cool to see how many times each person's color came up in the year. That might make it fun too, and not as, not monotonous, but not as like what everybody else is doing. You would kind of call up family members. Maybe grandma has a favorite color and you would incorporate her into there and let her pick what color she wants for what time, thing, and kind of make it a family project versus just being your own project. If that sounds like a cool idea, I might do that because I got a big family. So that's what it is. It's a very simple, the basis of it is simple, but get yourself a notebook. Before I forget, get yourself a notebook, because that way if you fall behind, you can go back through your notebook and see where you left off by marking off the days as you do them, in case maybe you're going on vacation for a week and you don't really want to knit each day or whatever, but over your vacation time you'd write down the temperature. When you get back, you can go ahead and finish knitting. So don't let the blanket confine you to your house. It's not meant to be like that. Take a notebook with you, jot down the temperature. They recommend doing the temperature at the same time each day, like maybe every day at noon when you're having lunch. You figure out what the temperature is outside, you make a note of it, and either that night or when you get a chance, you would knit those rows. If you're doing loom knitting, you could decide to alternate the days by knitting and purling. You can use those combinations if you want your blanket to have more variety, or if you're very new to loom knitting and you don't want to get intimidated by remembering that, a straight E-wrap blanket will be fine as well, or purling, or whatever. It's whatever you want to do. Take this blanket idea and make it your own. So I hope these tips kind of help you to get and stir your creativity to do this type of blanket, and give this video a thumbs up if you think you're going to make this blanket in 2019. And if you haven't already, please, please, please head over to my Facebook page for Simply Intertwined and share with me your progress on these blankets, what colors you're using, did it become a family event? I'd love to hear more about it. And I think this could be really fun, so I hope I might tackle this myself. I haven't decided yet, I'm going through my yarn, but I think I want to tackle this project too. So I know January 1st, I want to get my notebook out and I'm going to start keeping track of the temperatures and figuring out what color choices I want, because I may not be able to start knitting on January 1st, but I can sure the heck keep an eye on those temperatures. Have a great day, everyone.